All right, so we did discuss inner peace last week, and now let's get into this ethereal feelings and experiences. I briefly touched upon, why feel something or why experience something. So an experience is an indication, like I said, it's the vibratory state in the consciousness that reflects into the subtle body and that reflects into the at the physical level, and we only feel and experience at the physical level. So our mind is the only tool to feel and experience. Even though we talk about soul, Atman as the inner essence, but we don't have the ability to do feel anything with the Atman directly, with the soul directly. So our only tool available is mind. And how does the mind know the vibratory state at the Atman, at the soul? Is only through the reflection. And if you understand this reflection, you'll understand the whole science, how it happens. Okay. So that's why it's important to realize and acknowledge how these feelings come into existence. And today, not only meditation, today, whatever we feel is a vibratory state at the conscious level reflected from the soul. But the vibratory state at the conscious level is distorted because we carry impressions. Thus, the feeling is also distorted at the mental state. And sometimes we are engrossed in this external world so much because of the extrovert mind. I mean, we are not even going deep into that, the soul level. So it's always the feedback, mental state is connecting with the conscious state because without consciousness, there is no awareness. So the cycle is limited to the mind and the conscious state only. So we are not going deep behind that. But as we progress on this path, through the second point, in fact, the connection with the second point starts at the soul. Connection at the second point with the soul begins. So as you enter this chakra, you may feel a sensation of detachment from your physical body. It's like being on a planet with weaker gravity, where you can jump higher and move faster with less effort. So this newfound sense of freedom may make you feel as though you are in a realm that is more ethereal and profound. You feel everything is connected to higher power. You may even feel like you are enveloped in divinity, much like a rose drenched in its fragrance. So after a few months of meditation, I felt something similar. I was going back to college after spending the summer vacation at home in the village. I was waiting at the bus stop. It was blazing hot afternoon, and luckily bus was on time. So those of you know Gujarat, right? I mean, this is Daji's place. The state is Gujarat. It's all dry heat. If you have been to Phoenix, Arizona, you will know what dry heat really means. The Nevada, those places, it's dry heat. You don't sweat at all. So it's very difficult to walk outside in the hot summers. So I was waiting at the bus stop, blazing afternoon, and luckily the bus was on time. As soon as I boarded the bus, everything around me began to dissolve. It felt like the matter was losing its density and particles were becoming looser. Love permeated the space around me, and divine energy flowed through everything: the air, the seed, the clothes, the people, and even the trees on the roadside. I tried to shake off this feeling. I thought the sun was playing tricks with my head, but all I felt was everything being soaked in loving energy. So Daji is kind of narrating his own experience. Uh, for a good hour, I was in the state on this state, and then slowly I returned to my sense of normal. A dervish who was also on the bus observed me. He noticed that I was in a meditative state. When our eyes met, he said, "When the attention of the Guru grips the heart, you are carried on the wings of love." I had started meditation in the heartfulness just few months earlier. So I knew only my preceptors, that I hadn't even met Babuji. And this was the effect of the teaching was on me. I felt blessed to have experienced the second chakra in such a profound way. So you see the lightness of the soul you can feel at the chakra too. Without this real connection, I mean, that's why they say the yatra, the spiritual journey begins from chakra 2, because this is where we get the glimpse of the soul. But just see the the subtle experience at even the beginning of our journey. And in the past, the Rishi Munis have craved and meditated thousands of years just to get this condition. Okay. So you can imagine the profundity of now connecting with the soul and feeling the real connection. That's why the real characteristic of the soul is bliss. And that's why the second point is at ether. Ether is uh, almost like you can consider that as space, vast, and that has the ability to connect to the soul. That's why our journey begins at the point 2. Okay, so here I'll stop for any questions, comments, observations before we proceed on to the next topic.
Brother, I have a question.
Yes.
Um, so is when you experience the second chakra, is this something that you go in and out and it continues that you go in and out, or do you stay that way? I'm assuming so that you can move on. But initially, are you going in and out of that feeling? Are you experiencing that? Or do you like get to that point and you stay that way? The way Daji writes, it's as if, as like you said, he went back to his typical normal. So do you start experiencing that? I, I'm I was just wondering.
Okay, that's a very, very good question. And it's very important aspect to understand this on our spiritual journey. Do you have kids?
No, no, I never had children.
All right. Okay, so the thing is, whether it's kids or whether it's work, whether it's something, this constantly it's in the back of our mind, correct? So
Yes.
suddenly we remember our work, and then we go into the thinking about work, and then we come out, oh, I have to cook my lunch today. and then I'll be cooking my lunch, and then again I'm thinking about my work or something. So whatever grips your mind, you're connecting to it. So the nature of the mind is it gets glued on to whatever is draws your attention. Correct?
Yes.
So as something else is drawing your attention, your mind shifts into that. But at the back of the mind, if we can hold on to this experience, if we feel it, if we own this feeling, whatever we think about, generally, if you observe, there is a certain ownership we take about it. Even if somebody says, I'm stupid, I keep thinking about it. Why did this guy said to me that I'm stupid? Or if someone has insulted me, I'll keep thinking about it. If some situation of work at work has gone bad, we think about it constantly because that grips our mind. Usually, anything which is challenging your ego grips the mind even more because our interaction, our identity to this world is through our ego. Lot of times people think ego meaning some rude, arrogant behavior. That's not ego we are talking about here. Here, the ego means the identification of the self. How is it identifying? Suppose if I am a woman and I think of myself as very beautiful, and if somebody comes and tells me I look very ugly, it hurts my ego. And then because now I am identifying myself with my body, my appearance, and someone is hurting my ego. So the human nature or any nature of any animal, any being will try to protect its ego, protect its identity. Now, when such ego is merging into the soul, into such beautiful, so if you observe the wordings here, so I felt like the matter was losing its density and particles were becoming looser. This is a sign where my ego is disintegrating. So that means my identity is disintegrating. When such a thing happens, now my ego is finding its new identity, that is the soul. So as we constantly practice, once this identity becomes stronger, just like I'm protecting all my other identities, my physical appearance, my assumed intellectual capacity, or my assumed knowing of this world, whatever you call it, all those are ego is identifying. It's trying to protect it dearly. And Daji says once, when somebody challenges your intellect, you're even more hurt than somebody physically, passing some comments. Oh, you're too fat. You get hurt, but you don't get too hurt if when somebody said you are an idiot. Why am I taking, the kind of diverting away from the question? I'll tell you why. So this gluey nature of the mind kind of shifts from one item to another, one thing to another, based on what is where the mind is drawn. But once you develop this identity, see, this identity has just begun, correct? As you were in this reading. So you come out of that identity because it's just an experience. That's why when we become one with that condition, the AEIOU part which we discussed, right? The unity when it happens, that means now ego identifies yourself with that condition. When that happens, It is always there in the back of your mind, even if your mind is going in and out of that condition. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So the
Okay.
the important thing is to kind of go into this condition several times before you can identify yourself with that condition, right?
Okay.
So this identification is the key here. Identification is nothing but merging into that condition. And we are doing it naturally with all other things. Suppose I win a lottery today. I identify myself as a rich person, right? Then suddenly I make statements like, I don't care about money and things like that. Because why? All those feelings are the result of my identification. If I think I'm beautiful, then my behavior, my approach to this world is changing. If I think I'm depressed, my approach to this world is changing. If I think I'm confident, my approach is changing. It's all about what you feel. So the whole aspect of meditation process is to connect you with this higher identity. So that's why I always tell people, don't think of meditation as an exercise to become calm, bring peace into your life. That's not why we meditate. We meditate to create this real, true identity, which is already there. Everything is already there. It's about, see, the depression is already there, the confidence is already there. Now, which side your mind is diverting is what changes your inner feeling. And we are always going in and out from different aspects of life. Yet, my identity is well protected. Now, this transformation of this identity is really what we call is progress. And slowly, this idea of identity also drops. That's when the ego gets refined, right?
Mhm.
So, to answer your question, we are always going in and out. One second, there's somebody at the door. Let me open it. Sorry about that. Okay. So, yeah, where was I? So, we understood, right? This as this
Right.
identity is getting refined, then we are more connected to it. Now, where my mind is doesn't matter. Am I thinking about work? Doesn't matter. So, this whole concept of constant remembrance is totally misunderstood. So, one thing we have to really clear our mind and say a spiritual life is an integrated life. Here, I am not excluding, eluding anything. Work, I have to attend to. Family, I have to attend to. Financial stability, I have to ensure I'm financially stable. Health, I need to manage as much as I can. You know, how much ever it is, health is deteriorating as we age. That's fine. But we manage as much as we can. And then once we start refining this identity, we totally enter into a different realm. And when I enter into that realm, when that unity is established, it doesn't matter if I'm thinking about work, it doesn't matter if I'm thinking about someone. At the back of my mind, that connection is there, that identity is always there. See, suppose if I'm thinking I'm beautiful, I don't have to think I'm beautiful when I'm working. But at the back of my mind, that identity is there. That is basically is what constant remembrance is. It's not about I'm thinking I'm beautiful all the time, constantly. That's not how this works. So think of this disintegrated life. We don't have to disintegrate ourselves. A lot of times this, especially when you go into this Vedantic studies, they keep telling you you are not this body, you are not this mind, you are not this. You are the real essence, the Brahman, the soul itself. That's how they say. Now there the concept is there you are disintegrating yourself. In disintegration, you cannot really come to this higher spiritual states. You're always worried about what you are not. You're never thinking of what you have to become. Whereas the heartfulness practices is all focused on what you have to become. Rather, it says you are already that. Now start recognizing it. So it's not even you're bringing some new identity in. It's it's now you're turning your mind to that which already exists. You see the point here? So that's why this in and out is just a very a general statement. But if I remove this idea of in and out, even when I am in, I am in. When I'm out, also I am in. Without your knowledge, you don't have to consciously become aware of what is that in is, that real feeling is. Once you establish that feeling, it becomes a norm. Someone recently asked, after meditation, how do you feel about this meditation? I said, you are asking a fish how you feel about the waters, because the fish is always in the water.
Mhm.
You see the point there? You're
Yes.
already there. It's just that now you become aware of it.
Okay. Thank
Okay?
you, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry for the long answer, but I have to establish that context first.
No, no problem.
All right. So we are almost close to the hour.